Moving forward, physical signals. Physical signals are those signals which use physical forms of energy. So there is electrical energy that they are used, and then there is thermal energy. So electric communication is pretty prominent in electrically weak fishes. Okay, so weakly electric fishes they're also called. Few eels, electric eels, you'll find are pretty strong with their electric field, but few are weak. So they act as a signaler as well as a receiver. So the electroreceptors that they have in their body, acts as a sort of ecolocatory system, and sometimes also helps to send and receive signals. So these are what electrocommunication is all about. Then there is thermal communication, where different organisms can sense variation in temperature or also infrared variations. So snakes have been using that. They have loreal pits. They have multiple pits on their uh, dorsal systems as well as somewhere near the mouth, and these are used in order to identify changes in temperature. So they don't use that much of their eyes, but they use mostly their loreal pits, okay, in order to identify and measure the variation in temperature. So they can sense the heat signatures of different preys and follow that. So these kind of informations are usually used by different reptiles as well. And then there is also the ability to sense infrared thermal radiations emitted by predators or prey at the wavelength of 5 to 30 micrometers, and they have been used by different organisms to locate and identify. So these are multiple types of signals that are produced, received, and processed by different organisms. So what are the functions of all these mechanically communicating systems? So all the communicating systems functions to multiple aspects of behaviors, may it be competition and conflict. So we see different types of signals working together. Not a single signal will function alone. There are multiple signals that work together. So whenever there is competition or conflict, it involves tactile communication, chemical signaling, there is auditory and visual signaling as well. So all of these functions together. Yeah. So all the functions are a respect of how different signals work together to be a particular behavior. So there is competition and conflict. It is used in mating and courtship. They are shown in ownership and territoriality. Territorial is to mark a particular region, and ownership to define particular ownership over the organism or a particular nest or a particular region. Yeah. Then there is foraging and feeding. So different organisms use foraging signals to call different systems. Like ants are doing different organisms. They call each other, saying that okay, I have found a particular patch. Then there is while they are feeding, they produce sounds, or to invite a different organism to feed, or to tell to feed me. Yeah. So nuptial feeding is there, and different kind of feeding, like when a kid calls to its mother or father to tell that I'm hungry. So that sort of signals are used in order to communicate. Then there's alarm or threat responses. So these are kind of information or kind of responses that are given in order to assess or show that I'm alarmed or I want to run from the predator. Okay. It might be from the same species, it might be from the different species. It depends. So some to avoid competition, some to avoid predation, some to avoid any kind of different scenarios. Then there is meta communication. Meta communication is a sort of signal where two signals are coming one after the other. So whenever we see different dogs playing, so there is a sort of an aggressive display first, then there is play behavior. Yeah. So different kind of communication systems are coming here. So there might be a signal, but it is followed by a different behavior. So that is meta communication. So there might be different systems where, like, I'm smiling right now, okay, and then it will be followed by a different signal or different meaning of signal. So there are two different signals which are coming one after the other and interpreting a particular behavior. So altogether that is an entirely different behavior. Yeah. So I might be smiling, but I'm smirking at all or grinning. I'm producing with a sarcastic. I'm saying that with a sarcastic tone, even if it is a visual signal where I'm smiling, but my tone of sarcasm, changes the entire behavior of it. So it is meta communication.